Hello, my name is Isabella. I am a Girl Scout who is working on my Silver Award, and this video is for my Silver Award. I plan to teach you how to sew a blanket and what my project is for. You might be wondering, what is a Silver Award? It is one of the highest awards that a Girl Scout can earn. It is for Girl Scouts who find an issue in their community and who develop a sustainable project that addresses it and makes a lasting positive impact on their community. My project is for the issue of homelessness, and I am making blankets for St. Joseph's House, which is a local shelter that provides many other services in my community. This video will help with the sustainability of my project. So I recommend that you grab a sewing machine, something to drink, and a seat as I start walking you through making a blanket. Unwrap your fabric and see how many yards it is. I will be making a throw blanket, which is roughly around 2 to 3 yards. Though the longer the blanket you make, the more fabric it will require. If there is a strip of white fabric on the end that is called a selvage, most people remove it, but you can keep it if you want, but I would recommend removing it from the blanket to make it look better. Before you start pinning, if you decide to cut it off, well, cut it off, but if it is small enough, like this one, I'm choosing personally not to cut it off because if you choose not to cut it off, you can just fold it on the inside like so. When you pin, as I will demonstrate here, start with the corner, grab your pins. They should either have a colored ball on the side or like a little something to keep it from rolling off one side. So you grab a pin. I'd recommend pinning each corner. Then start to move in as you go to the middle. Pinning makes sure that your blanket stays together, and it's important for it to stay together because if not, then it might come apart in the sewing machine, which will make you have to restart the whole segment or the entire blanket all over again, which wastes time and will make you more frustrated with the process. And so you can add as many or as few pins and as close or as far away from each other as you want. When you start sewing, I recommend stopping at each pin to make sure that your stitches are all together. Make sure that the sides are straight together as you start sewing. Try and keep your pins at an equal distance if you can. As you can see, I chose to pin fairly close together as I like making sure I can give myself ample ability to check my placement of stitching as I tend to swerve off to the side more. It also helps to make sure you reinforce your corners as that is what is holding the fabric together mostly. And be careful not to poke yourself with a needle with the pin while you are pinning, as it can be quite sharp. For our next step, obviously, to sew something, you have to have a sewing machine. Make sure that your sewing machine and pedal are plugged in. And then make sure that you know what brand your sewing machine is. The one that I will be using today is a Kenmore sewing machine, one of the older models. And then make sure that, then check the bobbin, then take a look at the, and then check to see if the spool of thread under the needle contraption, which is called the bobbin, it has thread on it, and or is wound. This one is already pre-wound. It's already wound for me. The bobbin and the contraption that allows you to wind it will vary from machine to machine, so make sure you take a look at your instruction book on that, or look up other videos to know how your specific sewing machine works. And then there is the needle. Check to make sure that it has thread coming out of it. This one is already pre-threaded. If yours is not, then that can also vary from machine to machine. So I recommend either looking at your manual to see how it's done, or looking up other videos to see how your specific brand of sewing machine works. Once you have checked and threaded both, make sure that the thread is coming up from the top, is coming from both. You want 2 strands of thread, no more, no less. Make sure that they're pulled about 4 inches off, otherwise it might unwind itself. Once you're happy with that, if your sewing machine has a light, make sure that it is on. Make sure that it is put together before you start sewing. And then, once that's ready and your fabric is prepped, then you're ready to start sewing. Once your fabric is prepped and your sewing machine is ready, get fabric, lift up the foot, the forked metal piece under the needle, and then put your fabric under. Make sure that 2 strands of thread are out of the way. Then when it's under, push the foot down, get your foot on the pedal, and then press down and starts. Then you can press down to start sewing. To start, keep a steady pace, or a stitch might poke or be crooked. Stop when you get to a pin. Stop when you get to each pin. Pull up the foot and pull the needle up. Pull the needle up. Grab your scissors, or you don't need scissors for that part. Just check the back to make sure it's all set. And then once you found that it is in fact okay, actually you have just grab your scissors, trim it, and then if you do decide to cut it there, you gotta go grab, pull, make sure it's about 4 inches long, otherwise it will unthread itself, and then make sure it's up, start to where you stopped, put your foot down, and continue. Forgetting to take out a pin. Forgetting to take out a pin might cause your needle to break. And when you are on to the later parts of when you come, make sure you leave at least a large enough hole on one of the sides to be able to flip your blanket inside out. when you get to a corner, some sewing machines have a reverse tab, which, as you can see, and then that has it go back. And then repeat that step for each one, making sure that you leave a little bit of room when you for one of the sides to be able to flip it inside out. And there you have it. You finished a side, and if all goes well, it should take about 1 to 2 hours. It depends on the machine and the fabric, if all goes well. But I would recommend avoiding using fuzzy fabrics as they tend to be harder to work with.
Okay.
Congratulations! Now you have completed a blanket. This is an example of a completed blanket. As you can see, you can see where the stitching has moved to the outside when you left a 6-inch hole to flip it inside out when all 4 sides are finished. With your finished blanket, I would recommend donating it to a local shelter or using the information that you used while making it to teach other people to make one. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day, and remember that homelessness affects millions of people all over the world, and we should all try to help where we can. Thank you again.